Hi, this is Tracy, and we are continuing our read through the Bible and study as we go. So study with me. We are on day 6 of a chronological read through the Bible in a year plan. I'm just following Logos is a Bible software. They have a reading plan of getting through the Bible in a year. We are on Job chapter 10. We're doing 10 through 13. And let's start off with a quick prayer just to set our minds. God, give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. God, let any knowledge I gain serve to help me love you and others more and not puff me up. God, help me see something new about you I've never seen before. God, correct any lies I believe about you or anything I misunderstand. God, direct my steps according to your word. Amen. So we just heard from Job's second friend last time. We had him, basically his friends are going through and saying, look, you must have done something, man. You must have done something because God just doesn't do this for no reason. You must have, repent in your heart, figure out what you did wrong, and God will fix this. And they're trying to be good friends, but it sounds like they're kind of tired of his complaining. And so Job is continuing to lament and complain. And he just started talking about, we left off, he had a renewed complaint about, why God would do this and how he can't even appeal to God because he's not a real person. You can't go to court and say what's happening. So that's where we are right now. Job is still speaking. So this first chapter title is, or section title, what do you call the sub-chapters of this type of thing? I'll have to figure out the official term of that. Subheadings? Well, we'll go for that. Okay. An appeal for revelation. I am weary of my life. I will complain without restraint. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not condemn me. Tell me why you're contending with me. Is it good for you to oppress, to despise the work of your hands while you smile in the schemes of the wicked? Do you have eyes of flesh, or do you see as human beings sees? Are your days like the days of a mortal, or your years like the years of a mortal? That you must search out my iniquity and inquire about my sin, although you know that I am not guilty, and that there is no one who can deliver out of your hand. Verse 8. Your hands have shaped me and made me, but now you destroy me completely. Remember that you have made me with the clay. Will you return me to dust? Did you not pour me out like milk and curdle me like cheese? You clothed me with skin and flesh and knit me together with bones and sinews. You gave me life and favor, and your intervention watched over my spirit. But these things you have concealed in your heart. I know that this is with you. If I sinned, then you would watch me, and you would not acquit me of my iniquity. If I am guilty, woe to me. And if I am innocent, I cannot lift my head. I am full of shame and satiated with my affliction. If I lift myself up, you hunt me as a fierce lion, and again you display your power against me. You bring new witnesses against me and increase your anger against me. Relief troops come against me. Appeal for relief. 18. Why then did you bring me out from the womb? I should have died, and no eye would have seen me. I should have been as though I'd never existed. I should have been carried right from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Cease then and leave me alone, that I may find a little comfort before I depart, never to return, to the land of darkness and the deepest shadow, to the land of utter darkness, like the deepest darkness and the deepest shadow and disorder, where even the light is like darkness. Okay, so again, we're going to read some and then study what we read, I'm going to make a little highlight because, yes, I have forgotten where we were before. So going back up. So Job just finished his, I guess, continued like why God speech. And it looks like his third friend, Zophar, is about to speak after this. So one question that I had as I was thinking about this section of the Bible and the fact that we're going through it chronologically is, if this is chronologically, how did Job know God? I'm guessing they had texts from earlier, or not texts, because I think at this point everything was handed down verbally. But like, what did he have that, like, what had God given to people to get to know God? Because it seems like Job respects God and worships God and says, well, if God had, made me, then this is his choice and I'm going to deal with this. And now he's talking to God and saying things about God, and his friends are saying things about God. But what are they going off of? And I did pull out a couple resources that I have. I know I have the ones in Logos. I didn't see anything in here. I might just do a really quick Google search, because that's like all I can think of now is how did Job know about the Bible? Let's see. How did Job know about God? Let's see. How did Job learn? I know this is a risky thing to Google about the Bible, but I'm just looking for hints and ideas and things to be like, oh yeah, that's right. He would have. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Again, I know this is risky to have Google open as I'm recording, but I will blur out anything that's not appropriate. So how did people know about God before the Bible? We'll try it. It's on gotquestions.org. So even though people did not have the word of God, they were not without the ability to receive, understand, and obey God before there was the Bible as we know it. In fact, there are many areas of the world today where Bibles are not available, yet people can still can and do know about God. The issue is one of revelation. God's revealing to man what he wants us to know about himself. I mean, there's some truth to that. I mean, the idea is that if you've never heard of the Bible or God or anything, that you would look around you and see the majesty of nature and be like, okay, someone must have created this. Like, this is not just random molecules creating. Like, how is there so much beauty and complexity and craziness in the world, right? This has to be something that is above us. I know that that's one theory, but it seems that Job knows very specific things, like God's character. So Korah, okay, fine, we'll try Korah. This is probably not recommended. Let's see. How did Job learn about God? That's not the answer. I think this is, I don't see an answer here. All right. How would Job know about God in the first place? This is not helpful. Usually Korah is a little more helpful than that. Did Job speak rightly about God? How did he speak rightly? I mean, because the reason I'm questioning is not questioning, I'm just curious, is because I know that not everything is written down. This text would be so long if everything that anyone ever knew about God was written down. And surely there were stories between Adam and Eve, and like Noah knew God and walked with God. And so there must have been stories that were handed down from that. But maybe this isn't something I'm going to be able to like just understand in 5 seconds by doing a Google search, but maybe that's why his friends don't have it all right either. I mean, his friends have some things that are right and some things that aren't. I will research this and let you know what I find next time I record. How about that? We'll keep going. There were some, I think most of this, Job is saying, hey, you shaped me and made me, and now you're doing all these things against me. Like, he's still saying he didn't do anything. But again, how does he know he didn't do anything? I mean, his friends mention that there's people, I guess, so his friends mention that the generations before them, to go to the generations before them for wisdom. So yeah, that maybe they are just handing things down, word of mouth story. Like, I can't remember the name for it, where you tell stories generation to generation. But maybe that is how things are, and then he's like, why was I born? I wish I had never been born. Okay, so we'll just continue on with Zophar's speech. Then Zophar the Naamathite spoke up and said, should not this abundance of words be answered? Or should this talkative man be vindicated? Will your idle talk reduce people to silence, and will no one rebuke you when you mock? For you have said, my teaching is flawless, and I am pure in your sight. But if only God would speak, and if only he would open his lips against you, and reveal to you the secrets of wisdom, for true wisdom have 2 sides, so that you would know that God has forgiven some of your sins. Can you discover the essence of God? Can you find out the perfection of the Almighty? It is higher than the heavens. What can you do? It is deeper than Sheol. What can you know? I don't know what that is, so we're going to highlight this for later. Its measure is longer than the earth and broader than the sea. If he comes by and confines you and convenes a court, then who can prevent him? For he knows deceitful men. When he sees evil, will he not consider it? But an empty man will become wise when a wild donkey's colt is born a human being. What? Again, I'm going to highlight that. As for you, if you prove faithful, and if you stretch out your hand towards him, if iniquity is in your hand, put it far away, and do not let evil reside in your tents. For then you will lift up your face without blemish. You will be securely established and will not fear. For you will forget your trouble, and you will remember it like water that has flowed away. And life will be brighter than the noonday. Although there be darkness, it will be like the morning. And you will be secure because there is hope. You will be protected, and it will take rest in safety. You will lie down with no one to make you afraid, and many will seek your favor. But the eyes of the wicked fail, and escape eludes them. Their one hope is to breathe their last. Okay. So that was his friend Zophar's speech. And he's a Naamathite. The tribal identity of Zophar. So that's all that the little Bible dictionary says. This is the Lexham Bible Dictionary. I don't know where that is. Descendants of Naaman. Oh, a Benjamite clan? Okay, that hasn't happened yet, I believe. Should not this abundance of words be answered, or should this talkative man be vindicated? So I think he's saying, well, you're saying a lot of things. Shouldn't we respond? That's kind of how I'm interpreting that. The verb would normally require a personal subject, but abundance functions in the subject as a sentence. That does. Okay, it's language talk I don't quite understand. The point here is that just because Job talks a lot does not mean he is right or will be shown to be right through it all. And I've heard that the order of the friends, how they talk, historically that would have been in order of how old they were, like seniority. So the first one would be the oldest, most senior, and then second oldest. And then so Zophar would be the youngest of his friends. And that's just how culturally it would have been. I don't know if we know who wrote Job, or because I imagine it was not Job himself. This is probably just being recorded later. I'm looking in here to see if it talks about anything that would be interesting to us. Let's see. So the note in this Bible commentary says Zophar retorted viciously to Job for claiming to be innocent and for accusing God of malpractice in the universe. This third friend hardly lived up to the name friend. He was rude, insensitive, and brash. I mean, yes and no. On one hand, Job is kind of speaking poorly of their God and his God. And he's like, hey, man, don't speak poorly of God. So there's sometimes I imagine that harsh truth is the right thing to say. But again, this is your friend who just had everything taken away from him, is wanting to die. His health is taken away. His children and livelihood and everything he has been taken away. Probably not the best timing. It says Zophar said God was letting Job off easy, giving him punishment that he deserved. This was certainly a heartless jab. Okay, Zophar was furious because of Job's many idle words. So one thing I'm noticing about this commentary, this one, is there seems to be a lot of, I guess it's aptly worded commentary. There seems to be a lot of opinions, like saying that something was a heartless jab. In one hand, it is kind of nice to have someone tell me what I should be thinking about it, but also part of this whole project is to read it for myself and kind of get my own feel for things by just having someone help me interpret what the words are actually saying, and then I can say for myself if that was heartless or not. So, yeah, so the highlights that I made was, can you find out the perfection of the Almighty? Is it higher than the heavens? What can you do? Is it deeper than Sheol? What can you know? So Sheol, deeper than hell. The word Sheol always poses problems for translation here because it is the opposite of heaven in this mersum. Hell would be a legitimate translation. It refers to the realm of the dead, the grave and beyond. The language is excessive, but the point is that God's wisdom is immeasurable and Job is powerless before it. So, his friend saying, it seems like his friend is saying, okay, I'm not a scholar or a teacher or even a well-versed Christian. I am reading through this as what I would consider an average Christian. I've read through the Bible once before, but I've never gone to any type of classes or, read significantly on the whys behind it. So that's why I'm reading the Net translation. It's very literal. There's a lot of translator notes to kind of help understand why they translated something a certain way as opposed to other translations, which take more of the message from the text and puts it into modern day language from the message, but some of the minuteness of it might get lost in that. So higher than the heavens, deeper than hell. Okay. As for you, so be an empty man will become wise, but an empty man will become wise when a wild donkey's colt is born a human being. So I highlighted that because that didn't make any sense to me. So let's see what the note says here. It says, the one thing that will happen when others happen, which is never. Oh, it's like saying when pigs fly. An empty man will become wise when pigs fly. So an empty man will never become wise. Yeah, okay, that's a little harsh, man. Come on. Okay, so when a donkey's colt is born a human being. As for you, okay, so that makes sense then. And life will become brighter than noonday. Everything will be great as soon as you lift up your face without blemish. So figure out what you did, fix it, and life will be good again. Okay, so we will continue on. Job's reply to Zophar. Then Job answered, without a doubt, you are the people and the wisdom will die with you. I also have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know such things as these? I am a laughingstock to my friends. I, who called on God and whom he answered, a righteous and blameless man, is a laughingstock. For calamity there is derision, according to the ideas of the fortunate, a fate for those whose feet slip. But the tents of robbers are peaceful, and those who provoke God are confident, who carry their God in their hands. Sass. I like it. Knowledge of God's wisdom. But now ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds of the sky, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish of the sea declare to you. Which all of these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In whose hand is the life of every creature, and the breath of all human race? Does not the ear test words as the tongue tastes food? Is not wisdom found among the aged? Does not long life bring understanding? With God are wisdom and power, counsel and understanding are his. If he tears down, it cannot be rebuilt. If he imprisons a person, there is no escape. If he holds back the waters, then they dry up. If he releases them, they destroy the land. With him are strength and prudence, but the one who goes astray and the one who misleads are his. He leads counselors away stripped and makes judges into fools. He loosens the bonds of kings and binds loincloth around their waist. He leads priests away stripped and overthrows the pontifex. We'll highlight that because I don't know what that is. He deprives the trusted advisors of speech and takes away the discernment of elders. He pours contempt on noblemen and disarms the powerful. He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings deep shadows into the light. He makes nations great and destroys them. He extends the boundaries of nations and disperses them. He deprives the leaders of the earth of their understanding. He makes them wander in a trackless desert waste. They grope about in darkness without light. He makes them stagger like drunkards. My dog is here with a toy. So again, if you hear jingling and chewing, that's her. Okay. So this is when you're not a poetry person, this is the lot. It's like, okay, we get it. I know that you're like this. Oh my gosh, this dog. I mean, he's saying it in all the many different ways to say it, that God can do all things. But this part here, this first response to Zophar, I know I mentioned it, but this dog. I know I mentioned it, but he's saying, he's like, guys, I know this stuff as well as you do. Like, I know this. You don't have to tell me this. I know this. Without a doubt, you are the people, and wisdom will die with you. It's a bit of, I think that's a bit of sass and sarcasm. I I also have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. So they're speaking down to him like, dude, you must not know these things. And he's finally kind of, fighting back saying, no, I know this, guys. Like, come on. I know this. Who doesn't know such things? Don't laugh at me. So I'm a laughing stock to my friends. So yeah. So according to the ideas of the fortunate. So it seems like he's saying, for calamity, there is derision. A fate for those whose feet slips. So maybe he's saying, well, yes, there's this stuff that happens to these people according to you who this hasn't happened to. And those who provoke God are confident. Who carry God in their hands. The line perhaps best understood as describing one who thinks he's invested with the power of God. So we are about to do chapter 13. Oh, so we're almost done for today. So let's continue reading and we'll go from there. Job pleads his cause to God. Indeed, my eyes have seen all this. My ears have heard and understood it. What you know, I know. What you know, I know also. I'm not inferior to you. But I wish to speak to the Almighty and desire to argue my case with God. But you, however, are inventors of lies. All of you are worthless physicians. If only you would keep completely silent. For you, that would be wisdom. Listen now to my argument, and be attentive to my lips' contentions. Will you speak wickedly on God's behalf? Will you speak deceitfully for him? Will you show him partiality? Will you argue the case for God? Would it turn out well if he examined you? Or as one deceives a man, would you deceive him? He would certainly rebuke you if you secretly showed partiality. Would not his splendor terrify you and the fear he inspires fall on you? Your maxims are proverbs of ashes. Your defenses are defenses of clay. Refrain from talking with me so that I may speak, and then let come to me what may. Why do I put myself in peril or take my life in my hands? Even if he slays me, I will hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face. Moreover, this will become my deliverance, for no godless person would come before him. Listen carefully to my words. Let your ears be attentive to my explanation. See now, I have prepared my case. I know I am right. Who will contend with me? If anyone can, I will be silent and die. Only in two things spare me, O God. Then I will not hide from your face. Remove your hand far from me, and stop making me afraid with your terror. Then call, and I will answer, or I will speak, and you respond to me. How many are my iniquities and sins? Show me my transgressions and my sin. Why do you hide your face and regard me as your enemy? Do you wish to torment a windblown leaf and chase after a dry chaff? For you write down bitter things against me, and cause me to inherit the sins of my youth. And you put my feet in the stocks, and you watch all my movements. You put marks on the soles of my feet, so I waste away like something rotten, like a garment eaten by moths. Okay. I'm going to mark that done and go back and look at some things that stood out to me. So once again, I'm not inferior to you, but he says, I wish to speak to the Almighty and desire to argue my case with God. Yeah, he's like, y'all be quiet. Like, I don't think y'all know what you're talking about. I want to talk to God himself. I feel like I could win my case if I could, go up against him in court, because I've looked at myself, and I feel like I am still good. He does still, so, even if maybe it's not the best language to challenge God, like, hey man, come here, let's talk. Like it's like when your 5-year-old tries to challenge you and say, no, I am right. Like, if we were to, like, let's discuss this because I am correct. And you're like, no, child, I am always correct. I am your mother, right? I feel like that's how this is going to go. But, Job's hurting. And so he's pleading his case. And, who wouldn't want to do that? And he's telling his friends to be quiet. For you, that would be wisdom, to be quiet, he says. I think that's kind of funny. I actually think that Job has a bit of humor in it. Like, everything just gets so ridiculous in terms of how bad things get and how much people think they know. And I think a lot of situations that happens where someone says something and you're like, how could you possibly know enough to say what you're saying right now? And I think that's kind of the basis of what I've read so far is terrible things happen. Nobody knows all the details, and people are trying to say this would fix it, even though they don't know the details. It's like, well, who knows the details? God does. So, and I believe we do hear from God later in this chapter. So that should be fun. Let's see. Even if he slays me, I will hope in him. I think I will surely defend my ways to his face. So he's saying even to this day, he feels like he's done only good things to God. But what does the translator note on this says, there's interpretation, textual difficulty here that factors into the interpretation of this verse. One takes the former and says, behold, he will slay me, I have no hope. The NIV takes it as, though he slay me, yet I will hope in him. So those are two different things, right? One saying, I have no hope, he's going to kill me. And the other saying, even though he kills me, I will still hope in him. So two different things. This translator says the point of this verse is that he's willing to challenge God at the risk of his life, and if God slays him, he's still confident that he will be vindicated, as he later says in this chapter. Other suggestions are not compelling. So this translator is saying that other translations that say he's going to kill me, so I don't have no hope, are not compelling. Okay. There's some notes on the Hebrew there. Why do I put myself in peril and take my life in my hands? I believe he's saying, why would I want to put my life in my hands by going in front of God and confronting him in this virtual court? And he's saying, I would defend myself because I think I'm right. So in a way, he is right. I mean, he didn't do anything. Now, should you still want to go to court against God, even if I don't know if I'd want to? Because God still has a reason that he is doing this. You're still questioning why God is doing this. But I do know that if my 5-year-old came to me and said, Mama, I don't think this is fair. Why are you doing this? I didn't do anything wrong. It would kind of depend on my, I am not God, but it would depend on my attitude. I would say probably either if I was in a good mood, I'd sit down and be like, well, this is why we're doing this. You're right. You didn't do it, but these other things are affecting, the outside factors are affecting it to where we have to do this. But I could also just say, because I'm your mom, we're doing this. Let's go. right? I have that authority in being her being the child and me being the parent and not having to explain it to her. And if she kept complaining, she might get in trouble for not listening to me and not trusting me. Sometimes I have trouble, sometimes putting this in the perspective of me being a parent and how I see my child. I think that there's a reason that God speaks as him being the father of us, because that is the most, the best analogy to our relationship to him. And so, okay, well, let's look at how parents might handle this if that's the analogy he's choosing to use. He could say, I am, and king is used all the time, but he uses the term father when, for example, like our Father who art in heaven in the Lord's Prayer, right? So Father, he doesn't say our King who art in heaven or my ruler who art in heaven. Later on in the New Testament, that's not what Jesus uses. So so I did want to look up this paragraph here, or this little line, verse 20, where it says, only two things spare me, O God, and then I will not hide from your face. What are those two things? I might have missed it, but what are those two things? We'll go to this commentary. Do I have this the Bible Knowledge series is the one I have in person in front of me. I don't think that's one of my commentaries I have in here. Did it open up and I lost it? Oh, it did. It's up. Here it is. Okay. We'll put this here. So this is verse 20 that I'm looking at and questioning, 13:20. When Job laid out his case before God, he surprisingly did not give a systematic presentation of his innocence. Such a defense would be given when Job brought his monologue to a close with the code of a man of honor in chapter 31. In a series of oaths, Job called down punishment if he had violated any of the standards of integrity, listing 14 possible transgressions. But what are the two things? Only in two things spare me, O God, and then I will not hide from your face. Two things. The line reads, do not do two things. But what are those two? Oh, okay. So maybe remove your hand far from me and stop making me afraid with your terror. Oh, okay. So these are the two things. So right now, Job says he's hiding from God's face because God's hand is on him and he's making him afraid with terror. See Job 9. Oh, that's not, fine. So Job 9:34, we had just read yesterday. Who would take his rod away from me so that his terror would not make me afraid? Okay. Then call and I will answer, or I will speak and you respond to me. How bold. Okay, God, then you can talk to me. Okay, well, I will research. Maybe how people of that day knew stuff about God and knew stuff about how how all the things worked. Like, how did they know good from bad? And how would Job know what his iniquities were? Or how would how did that all work before there was something like the Bible or the commandments or any of that stuff? I'm curious. I don't know if you're curious, but you, if you're following along, maybe you are similarly minded. And let me know what you think of this new format. I keep testing things, music and transitions, and trying to make this enjoyable for you and also doable for me. Please give this video a like. That helps more people find it. And make sure to subscribe for the next series. If you're just now jumping in, there should be a, let's see which direction, over there. There should be a link to the entire series so far, starting from Genesis 1. All right. And then also I have a playlist for each chapter that we've covered so far. So, all right. Thanks and have a great, blessed day.